massively and cost you nothing at all. And of course, much love to all of you who support this show on Patreon. Literally could not do it without you. This is real independent media. Never had a conversation with an advertiser, never done an ad read, never talked to a corporation or company or billionaire or government or anything like that. Ground up media, man, grassroots, you guys made that happen, so I love you all for it. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. So let's start with this. Trump is saying things that for any other president, it would be like a career-ending scandal immediately. But he just says so much insane shit that he effectively gets away with it because it's impossible to focus on all of it. So look at this from Yashar Ali. In an interview with NBC News, President Trump said repeatedly that he, quote, couldn't care less if auto manufacturers raise prices due to his tariffs. He also said that he hopes they raise prices. The president says he believes that will just lead consumers to buy American-made cars. All right, now a few points. Number one, there are literally zero cars that are 100% made in America. Literally zero. None. No cars are 100% made in America. That's not a thing. Either you're getting the parts from somewhere else or you're just assembling it here. There's no, from the beginning of the supply chain to the end, there are zero cars that are made here. So that means the tariffs affect every car. Maybe some more than others, but it affects every car. Okay, that's a super important point. The second point is, hold on, you spent the whole election season telling us tariffs won't raise prices. And now you're saying, well, of course they're going to raise prices, but I'm fine with that because it'll incentivize people to buy American. Even though it won't, because as I said, there are no cars that are 100% made here. All right, so here's from the article. Asked what his recent message was to motor industry CEOs and if he warned them against raising prices, Trump said, the message is congratulations. If you make your car in the United States, as none of them do, you're going to make a lot of money. If you don't, you're going to have to probably come to the United States. Oh my God. Because if you make your car in the United States, there's no tariff. Guys, how many times have you heard me say this? The idea that if you just do tariffs, it'll lead to a manufacturing boom is preposterous. Because you also need to do targeted tariffs are fine, but these aren't targeted. And then you need massive industrial policy. You need to subsidize the industry in order to bring back U.S. manufacturing. You know who was doing that? Joe Biden. That's what the CHIPS Act was. He killed the CHIPS Act. That's 115,000 manufacturing jobs that are gone now because Donald Trump decided to freeze those funds illegally, by the way. So he lives in this fantasy world where you just do taxes and it's like, with this one weird trick, fix everything. No, that's not going to happen. Not even close. In fact, what taxes are going to be is effectively a regressive tax on the working class. That's what tariffs are. So slap an extra minimum 25% tax on everything that's bought by the working class, which they can't afford right now because they're being squeezed. Their wages, productivity is up. Their wages are not going up. And you want to hit them with effectively a 25% tax on every good that they buy? Are you insane? The one thing holding this economy together with bubblegum and duct tape is the low cost of consumer goods, and he's trying to ruin that. When president, if he told CEOs not to raise prices, as reported in the Wall Street Journal, Trump added, no, I never said that. I couldn't care less if they raise prices because people are going to start buying American-made cars. I couldn't care less. I hope they raise their prices because if they do, people are going to buy American-made cars. We have plenty. No, we don't. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Go to Google, go to Grok or ChatGPT or whatever, and ask them, are there any cars that are 100% made in the U.S.? The answer is going to be no, there's none. So he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Asked if he was concerned about car prices going up, Trump said, no, I couldn't care less because if the prices on foreign cars go up, they're going to buy American cars. Again, no American cars are fully made here. The tariffs will impact everything. And if you think these companies are just going to start making everything here from beginning to end, you are wrong. That requires subsidizing them. That requires industrial policy, which he's against because they would call that socialism. I'm going to lose my fucking mind. He's destroying the economy on some willy-nilly type shit. Now let's get to this. Ready? Trump keeps talking about Liberation Day. It's Liberation Day, folks, which I think is April 2nd. Jesus Christ, that's in 2 days. Oh, my God. So Jeff Stein, the wonderful chief economics reporter for the Washington Post, says this. Donald Trump is described by several sources as pushing too big with tariffs. That is why he's interested in a single, simple, universal rate as high as 20%. He is described as wary of advisors trying to talk him down and weaken his trade agenda, which he believes limited the tariff impact on his first term. He thinks tariffs are a win-win for federal revenue and bringing back manufacturing, and is thinking of transforming the U.S. economy in terms of decades or centuries, some sources said, rather than the next few months. So a few things. If he thinks tariffs are a win for federal revenue, that's a way of saying, we're going to shake down the working class in this country and effectively raise their taxes, and that's how we're going to get our federal revenue, which is the polar opposite of what the leftist idea is, which is shake down the wealthy, shake down the top 1%, raise the capital gains tax, for example, raise the estate tax, for example, do a wealth tax, for example. This is the left-wing idea. Tax the rich, soak the rich. They got enough anyway. The working class doesn't. Trump reversed it, and it's nefarious because he doesn't even tell you this is actually what he's doing. But this is him shaking down the working class. This is effectively a tax increase on the working class, and he's bragging about how much federal revenue they'll get from tariffs. And then again, the idea that it's going to bring back manufacturing, it 100% won't. If you don't do industrial policy with it, it won't happen. It's not going to happen. And the idea that he's thinking in terms of decades or centuries, look, guys, I simply don't believe that. I simply don't believe that. He doesn't have the capacity to do that. He's got the world's biggest ego. He's the world's biggest narcissist. He's all about instant gratification. So that leads to the second point, which is, I think this is all orchestrated. I think this is all planned. I think they want a colossal recession or depression and market crash, because guess what happened the last two times we had that? Even more massive consolidation among the top 1%. The robber baron class got out scot-free and did way better than everybody else. So they want you to be a corporate slave and a peasant while the robber baron class takes over everything, and income and wealth inequality literally goes off the charts, and we're beyond the second Gilded Age. This is what he wants. But let me explain to you how actions have consequences. There's this new CBS poll, and it talks about Trump's approval on the economy. Well, look at this. Expectations versus now. Trump's policies are making you financially... So, better off was 42% in January. Now, that number has plummeted to 23%. 23%. Nearly a 20-point drop in the notion, oh, Trump's economic policies are making me better off. Only 23% of the country say his economic policies are making them better off. That means you have many people, even in MAGA, who are going, yeah, dog, I'm feeling the squeeze. I don't like this one bit. I'm hurting right now. Also, to this point, Biden has been solely blamed for inflation, right? Well, look at this. Now, Trump's numbers have almost tied Biden's in terms of now Trump is being blamed for inflation. Now, cautionary tale, though, so his economic numbers are collapsing, right? But according to the same poll, look at this. He actually has his highest job approval rating ever, 50%. So what you need to understand is the facts won't sell themselves. This is what Democrats need to understand. The facts won't sell themselves. You need to be relentlessly going after this man on every front, from his destruction of civil liberties and the Constitution, to his imperialist warmongering, to his destruction of the economy and consolidation of wealth in the top 1%. There's not a single area where you shouldn't be fighting back ruthlessly and aggressively, which brings me to my final point, a message for the Democrats. This is not fucking rocket science. You, number one, resist Trump with everything you have, as every poll of Democratic voters says they want you to do. And number two, look at this, a poll among Democrats. Those who say it's important Democrats emphasize how they'll fight for the working class. 92% of Democratic voters want that. Take on corporate interests and tax the rich. 88% of Democrats say they want that. Take on the Democratic establishment and corruption in Washington. 87% of Democratic voters say they want that. Emphasize how they'll lower prices. 86% want that. Lay out a bold progressive agenda for economic and political reform. 85% say they want that. So in other words, complete and utter vindication for everything we've been saying on the show for over a fucking decade. Democratic voters are screaming from the rooftops. Number one, resist Trump with literally everything you have. Stop trying to find middle ground where there fucking is none. And number two, this is what we want in terms of your policy agenda. You need to make it clear. The problem is the 1%. The problem are the robber baron billionaires. That's the problem. And you need to fight for the working class, take on corporate interests, tax the rich, take on the establishment and end the corruption. This is everything we've said. If you can't steer out of the wilderness based on these principles, you're hopeless. You're absolutely hopeless. So buckle up, because this economy right now is looking like barbecue chicken, and it's a terrifying thing to watch. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.